Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare down greatness. But man, we're staring down a long stretch. We are officially 212 days away from NFL Week 1, so that means the offseason has officially begun. Shout out to the Seattle Seahawks. They are our Super Bowl LX champions. Today, we're talking about one thing. I'm pretty much just going to go over the game. Probably going to be about 20, 25-minute episode. We're just slowly talking about Super Bowl LX, kind of the fallout of it, everything to kind of do with Super Bowl LX. We're going to talk about that, and then tomorrow we'll go over some of the NFL news, some of the other stuff that not necessarily is only Super Bowl, but has some other stuff that is going on as well. So, to hop into it today, like I said, the Seattle Seahawks, man, they just absolutely dominated the Patriots. Without that fourth quarter, this game could have been real ugly. 29-13 becomes your official final score, but the Patriots put up 13 points in the fourth quarter. Let's be honest, this was one of those Super Bowl games where it was a great defensive battle. Both defenses absolutely balled out, but probably wasn't the most fun to watch. I'll admit, I'm a guy who I love defensive battles and everything, but I prefer my Super Bowls to be, a little bit more pizzazz and everything in it. It was not the case. It was just field goal for the Seahawks, and then they finally scored the first touchdown in the fourth quarter with A.J. Barner. Shout out, we gave him out, along with Cooper Kupp, StereoSports.com. Matt Collins ends up scoring a touchdown with 12:27 to go, and then Jason Myers kicks another field goal. Drake May kind of has, I guess it was considered an interception. I thought it was a fumble, but it gets hit, ball's in the air. Like I said, it was one of those ones, sorry, I was joking on something. That was one of those ones that ended up being a fumble. Not a fumble, ended up being an interception. And then the Patriots ended up coming back and answering with a touchdown with 2:21 to go. They go for two and did not get it, which really sucks because I think we had like plus 310 on yes for a 2-point conversion to happen. So pretty disappointed about that. But man, we'll talk about the betting part in a second. But overall, the game wise, like I said, it wasn't the most of fun, but I enjoyed it. I'd say I wouldn't say I was like thrilled for the whole game, but overall wasn't. I've seen worse Super Bowls, I guess that's the best way to put it. It was just crazy, man. You could tell, like, it was just like, it's a story of basically like the Seattle Seahawks, who were a team that were ready. They were full of some guys that had battle scars, especially their quarterback, who's just been absolutely through the ringer and then some. You got a bunch of guys like that in Seattle. Then for the Patriots, you got a whole new team, basically. First year under Mike Vrabel. They're definitely early. Like, this was a team, like, they weren't supposed to be this good this early. They still earned that 14-3 record. Even if their schedule was easier. I mean, they're still NFL teams at the end of the day. Not going to argue that their schedule wasn't easier, though. That's partially one of the reasons we took the over and thought Mike Vrabel might be Coach of the Year. We talked about it towards the beginning of the offseason last year when we finally started getting towards awards and everything. It was like, hey, the Patriots schedule is not the hardest, so there's a good chance that Mike Vrabel's going to completely flip them around, get them to the playoffs, and he'll be Coach of the Year. Sure enough, he led him to the Super Bowl. But overall, too, I think another issue was Drake May. The moment felt probably a little bit too big for him. There were some spots where he misses throws he usually doesn't admit. I'll admit also, he said he had to take a shot for his shoulder before the game. Sounds like Drake May was hurt a lot more than we thought, and it makes sense because, that offensive line, man, they got used and abused on Sunday. Got basically stuffed in a locker and bullied just for the whole night. And that's been kind of the story of the playoffs. That's why Drake May's been getting hit a lot, and he's dealing with injury, 1 and 2. That's also probably why. When it came down to just protection and everything, he just did not feel comfortable. And you can kind of tell the difference. I'm not going to say Sam Darnold played an amazing game. He definitely had some throws as well where it's like, ooh, that was a little close. But Sam Darnold definitely looked way more composed. Kind of crazy how he led the league in turnovers, and then he goes into the playoffs and does not lead. 0 turnovers. Doesn't even lead. Doesn't have any. 0 turnovers. Absolutely insane. I think the biggest thing about this game, I guess we'll finish off the thought about Drake May, and then we'll get into that. But, to finish off with Drake May, he just seemed like it was one of those things where he's a 23-year-old kid, second season, first full season starting, and he's in the Super Bowl. Moment was a little big to him. Game felt a little too fast for him at certain points, and offensive line definitely didn't do him any favors at all. It just sucked. Patriots defense was playing a really good game. I mean, for 3 quarters, they kept it 9-0. The Patriots for how bad their offense was. They kept getting the ball back, and you're just like, man, maybe if they're able to do something. But they just kept getting shout out Dixon for the Seattle Seahawks. He had some amazing punts that just absolutely buried the Patriots in their own end. And because they weren't able to move the ball very well offensively, especially until the fourth quarter, when that's really when Drake May had a lot of his stats. Because of that, Seattle Seahawks got even better field position. Like, Drake May finished with 295 and 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Pretty sure he only had 50 passing yards, like, going into the third quarter. He threw for, like, 220, 230 in the fourth. But we haven't even mentioned him yet. Shout out Kenneth Walker, man, the MVP of the Super Bowl. But even bigger than that, my biggest thought, and we'll get back to Kenneth Walker in a moment, the redemption arc and the return of Sam Darnold, of all teams for him to beat the Super Bowl too, kind of awesome that he was able to beat the Patriots. Kind of just the full circle moment of seeing ghosts where he has that happen with him with the Jets and everything, and then everything that happens to that, which then leads to him signing with the Seahawks this offseason, which leads to a Super Bowl. Like I said, he didn't play the best of games, but he did enough to help them win. And the biggest thing he didn't do was turn over the ball. Drake May had 2 turnovers. I think he might have even had 3. I think he might have even had a fumble as well. So, I mean, it was just a very, very sloppy game for one quarterback, and the other quarterback was able to... Yep, he had a fumble as well. But the other quarterback was able to basically keep his composure and not turn over the ball. What really, really stinks, by the way, too, we also gave out Drake May to have the most rushing yards in the game. He had the second most in the game, and he probably would have had the most, but there was one guy that they just couldn't stop, man. Ken Bone Walker, 27 carries for 135. They gave him that bell cow work, and he showed him why he deserved it. He honestly probably should have had like a 45-yard touchdown, but ended up getting called back on penalties, which is another just crazy part of the game is that while Sam Darnold did also miss some throws, didn't play the best, there's a couple plays called back where it's like the Seahawks really could have put it to the Patriots, but especially because I think the craziest part too about this Kenneth Walker run was the over hits if he scores that touchdown, but instead it goes under because they end up calling it back and everything. Kind of makes you wonder, right? But no, another guy had a great game. Cooper Kupp, 6 for 61. AJ Barner, like I said, he had the first touchdown of the game 12 minutes ago in the fourth quarter. He also had 4 for 54. Jason only had 4 for 27, left the game with an ankle, I think, or a heel, and then he also left for a concussion for a little bit. Then he ended up he did not have the best of games, but so they were able to shut down JSN, but they weren't able to shut down Kenneth Walker. I think regardless, Cooper Kupp was probably going to have a good game because they were going to try to shut down Kenneth Walker and JSN, which would lead to Kupp probably having the game, which he did. But also just crazy to think that, yeah, so they were able to hold JSN. Cooper Kupp had a decent day, 6 for 61, but Kenneth Walker, man, he also had 2 receptions for 26 yards. I mean, if they gave him that 45-yard touchdown, he has 200 all-purpose yards. He definitely deserved the Super Bowl MVP. I would say if it wasn't him, I definitely thought Jason Myers. I sprinkled it right before. I sprinkled Jason Myers right before the odds closed and everything, and I really thought there was a chance. Basically, until those last couple drives, it was like, Kenneth Walker might have taken this with how well he was playing. Oh, man, it's just like that. It's crazy. 5 field goals, 2 extra points made. I mean, Jason Myers had a day, and that, like I said, that was just a good old defensive battle, but probably not what we wanted in the Super Bowl because the Patriots just weren't able to get anything going, really. They just had, I think it was at one point almost 7 3-and-outs in a row. It was just not a good game for the Patriots, and it felt, I would say for me personally, probably about halfway through the second quarter, because first quarter I was kind of cheering for the under, so I wasn't all right, whatever, the Patriots will, because they usually come out to slow starts, and so did Seattle. But that also was because both defenses were absolutely bowling out, but you get the point. Patriots came out slow. We won our first quarter bet, shout out. And then as it was about second quarter, actually halfway through second quarter, it's like, okay, it's starting to get a little bit dicey. I would say, yeah, so 11-20, Jason Myers kicks that second field goal. It's like, okay, Patriots still in this game, but they really need to start moving the ball. And then when they go up 9-0 at halftime, for me personally, that was kind of like okay, so the Patriots are really, really in trouble, and they're probably out of this if they don't get something out of half. And then I think they went 3.5 to start half. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, so they're done. I gave up my 4.5 kind of hitting, I would say, after that third field goal in the second half, or in the second quarter, excuse me. And then that first 3-0 to start the second half was where I was kind of like, okay, yeah, so Patriots are probably done here. And Gotta give credit to that Seahawks defense, man. They were able to give different. I mean, their defense was just one of the best defenses. I mean, they're going to go down historically. They ended up as the number one scoring defense to end the season. Absolutely went on a tear in the playoffs. I mean, hell, they went on a tear all season. The best part, too, is Mike McDonald, the mastermind behind it all. Just seeing his joy and everything. I mean, it's just awesome, man. I mean, it sucks for, obviously, the other side having to watch them lose. But you just seeing the joy and everything in those athletes and in the coaches and everything when you finally win. Because you got to think, it's been a long grind for him. There's a clip they showed in the Pat McAfee show of like this journey. He's like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do all these things. And he's able to do it in 2 years. Them spoiling the Gatorade. Kind of crazy, by the way. And you know every coach just dreams of getting that Gatorade bath to end the season. So the fact he's able to get hit so young is just absolutely awesome. And seeing him with his family and everything, it's just really, really cool, man. And when it just comes to his defense, I mean, he is just a defensive mastermind. They were just all night. They had different guys at the line. And then they were in like a corner blitz. And the Patriots just weren't able to pick it up or anything. And then they would line up the same look again. Rush 4. Drop back. O-line was just getting massacred. It also came out that Will Campbell was playing with a torn MCL, I believe. Which obviously he said wasn't an excuse. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if he's playing with a torn knee, he is obviously not playing 100%. Which some guys, I think majority are not at this point in the season. But probably why he didn't play the best, but that line just got used and abused. There's even a play where you see, like, the guard, Will Campbell's guard, like, he has, the tackle's doing fine, Will Campbell's doing fine, and then the guard comes in, basically chips him, throws him right kind of by Will Campbell to the point where he's able to get wide enough, and then he kind of helps make the play, and it's just like, there's just a lot of stuff like that all night. It just seemed like a team that wasn't clicking. I talked about, and a lot of people, I think, did the experience and everything when it came down to Vrabel and Josh McDaniels being there and everything. They did not, especially Josh McDaniels, did not call the best of games. I mean, overall, though, I mean, that defense just basically shut down anything they were trying to do. And you would have thought that McDonald was the guy who was been into like 10 Super Bowls and everything. But it's going to be different for the Seahawks a little bit next year. Clint Kubiak left. He's officially going to the Raiders. He announced that basically after the game. I think all of us knew it was going to happen. But now he's officially going over there, which 3 different offensive coordinators in 3 years now. But I'm going to be curious to see what happens to that staff and everything. But overall, I mean, it's crazy. Apparently, a lot of the guys are under contract and everything. I don't think they're going to be too many that are free agents. Only a handful, couple. They signed Sam Darnold to the 3-year deal, so he's going to be there for a while. I mean, the big one's Kenneth Walker. And after winning a Super Bowl, you got to think he's going to come back to town. And you got to think, especially with Charbonnet hurt, they're going to offer Kenneth Walker, like, hey, we'll let you score a little bit more touchdowns in the red zone. We won't take you away every time. But I will say them limiting his reps helped him get through a majority of the season. While it might have not been the best for fantasy or for himself scoring touchdowns, it helped him get through the season. And then the Super Bowl, he absolutely went off. So, and the best part about his runs, he was getting the outside and getting the edge on the Patriots. He was getting some chunk run. Like, I think it was like first, second play of the game for them. He gets a big, massive chunk run on the edge. It's like, it's literally like, it took me aback. I'm not even kidding. Like, first play, it's like, oh, the Patriots haven't really given up that a lot. All of a sudden, like, I sat up a little bit. It's like, hold on a minute. We might be in trouble. And that's when I was still kind of cheering on for the Patriots, was 4.5 a little bit. But, yeah. And then when it comes to the Patriots, I mean, they're in year 1 of the rebuild. And they went 14-3. So, you got to think they're going to keep a decent amount of guys around. They're going to retool, reshuffle. You're going to be curious to see what they do with the Stephon Diggs situation just because of his court dates and just kind of the noise that's going on with him. Very curious if he's going to end up coming back or not, but you got to think they are going to upgrade their O-line for sure. Defensively, I mean, they have a really, really solid defensive unit. Maybe pick up a couple linebackers in the draft and everything. Maybe in free agency as well, but you got to think that New England's going to start becoming a destination again, especially because Mike Vrabel's there and everyone, and there's going to be a lot of guys who want to play under him, but yeah, really, like I said, it sucks for the Patriots. They made it all that way. Potentially might have been able to do something, but just couldn't get over the edge. Yeah, to finish off, I'll kind of give some of my final thoughts and everything, and then we'll talk about kind of the bets, and then just talk about how the bets end up finishing out and everything. But final thoughts overall on the Super Bowl. I will admit, I was at my buddies watching the game, so I will admit, commercial-wise, I'll admit, I kind of got a feeling the commercials were kind of going to be mid this year. And I can't even tell you why. It was just kind of like a gut feeling. So I didn't pay attention to a lot of commercials. But from what I heard, yeah, there weren't too many that were too crazy. Halftime-wise, I'm indifferent to I'm there for the football. That's the halftime. Like halftime show's not for me personally. I'll admit I enjoy watching them all, and this goes for all of them. Like I enjoy watching them and don't mind them at all. But like especially this year, like it wasn't for I'm enjoying the game. I don't mind like yeah. I just didn't mind it. I was like I said indifferent. Like I'll admit I can see why some people might be upset overall, but it's to the point for me where it's like it's a 15-minute halftime for the Super Bowl. Like I'm not gonna freak out about it. And then when you learn about some of the storytelling, which I think I saw something, I think it was on X or Instagram, like I was reading something about the storytelling about it and everything. It's like, okay, that's kind of really cool then. Just wish I was bilingual so I could understand the words because I'll admit the storytelling seemed cool and everything after I looked back and read it. But yeah, at the time it's like, yeah, high school Spanish level 3 only gets me so far. But game-wise, like I said, it wasn't the worst Super Bowl I've seen. It wasn't the best. Wish it was a little bit better overall just because it was like... It really felt like the Rams-Seahawks game was kind of the Super Bowl. So, like, when the Seahawks won, it's like, okay. That makes it... Like, I genuinely thought the Patriots might be able to at least keep it... Like, I thought this is kind of how... The way the game went is kind of how I thought it would go for the Patriots to keep it close. But they just got stuffed in the locker. Like, their offense wasn't able to move anything at all. So... When the game script was going like that, I'll admit, there was a second where I'm like, okay, so it's getting muddied up enough where the Patriots might be able to do something. They just couldn't move the ball at all. So that part of it kind of sucks when it comes to betting some overs and like trying to have fun with some of the scoring and everything. But like if it goes like if it was like it was a good football game, I would say. Not a great Super Bowl. And then I'll admit, once AJ Barner's score kind of happened, it was like, when it was like 19-0, it's like, okay. Because I would say 9-0. When it was 9-0, it was a lot of fun, still kind of cool. And then once it kind of became 12-0, it was like, okay. And then every minute that ticked on after that, it was kind of like, all right, are the Patriots going to be able to score? Are they going to score now? Are they going to score now? But like I said, I also think I wasn't too mad about the game overall because we ended up having a pretty decent game. I think, thankfully, we held off. I almost wanted to bet. So the last couple of years, last 3 Super Bowls, it's been tail Seahawks, tail Seahawks, tail Seahawks. Made me a bit nervous, but we've talked about it on this show for, I think, 200-plus days at this point. Even before the season started, like we talked about it. We're betting heads on the Super Bowl. I held off from betting Seahawks to win the coin toss. But we bet heads, and sure enough, I won't even lie to you, too. I saw Joe Montana went up there to flip the coin. I'm like, we're good, baby. Sure enough, flips, gets ahead. That means we are officially 5 for 6 on the year, or 5 for 6 on coin tosses now in the Super Bowls the last 6 years, which absolutely insane. We've hit that many in a row. Honestly, absolutely insane. It doesn't even feel real. Like I'll admit, 5 for 6 is dumb lucky, but hey, manifestation works sometimes, I guess, right? But so we didn't win Pats plus 4.5, but we won the coin toss, so I won a really good amount on that. Under 8.5 points for the first quarter. We were able to win that. We gave out Cooper Kupp, first TD, Cooper Kupp anytime, AJ Barner, TD, AJ Barner anytime. The AJ Barner one hit first and anytime, so that kind of made up for damn near everyone we picked. Because, yeah, when you give out like 3 or 4 touchdown scores for each team and none of them hit, it's like, oh, yeah, that's kind of going to be a problem. But prop-wise, some of the other stuff that we took that ended up not too bad. So, I don't believe Hunter Henry's stuff hit over. So, that was somebody we gave out. Matt Collins hit up for us. Shout out to him. He hit 30, 40, 50. I think he had like 70. He had 78 receiving yards. Yeah, he hit 30, 40, and 50 that we gave out, which is really, really awesome. Yeah, Hunter Henry had 3 for 31. So, and he didn't catch a pass on the first drive, so he kind of boned us there. But thankfully, Matt Collins hitting the plus 124, plus 220, plus 360. That made up for it really nice because the Drake May rushing yards didn't hit because Kenneth Walker absolutely went nuts. JSN got hurt, so that didn't really help out too much. Cooper Kupp hit his receiving over of 32.5 and 40 receiving yards for us. Both quarterbacks throw a pick. Sam Darnold was clean. Drake May was not. We didn't get the sack for Marcus Lawrence, so that part kind of stinky too. We gave out Hunter Henry, Ramondre Stevenson, Drake May, JSN, AJ Barner, and Cooper Kupp all to score. AJ Barner was the only one who scored. We also gave out Stephon Diggs first touchdown, Cooper Kupp first touchdowns. Both of those didn't hit, but we also gave out AJ Barner on the show, so that hit for us at least. And then, yeah, I don't think... Yeah, we didn't get anything there. The Nasty Boy definitely didn't hit because Jason didn't get his stuff, and then we didn't get touchdowns in the big Nasty one. So I'm pretty disappointed because the Cooper Kupp, Matt Collins, and Hunter Henry stuff all hit. The worst part, too, is I didn't like the JSN part of it, but I'm just like, man, I got to pick 2 for each team. So I'm like, let me just find something for... I honestly wish I moved the Trayvon Henderson over the JSN stuff because that one kind of hurt a little bit. But and then, obviously, prop-wise, like I said, we took heads. That was able to hit for us. That was super nice. 30 passing yards each quarter for Drake May and Sam Darnold. We did not get that. Successful 2-point try. That close ended up not happening. We didn't get the octopus. Didn't get 2.5 players to throw a pass. No flea flicker. No rush yards. The shortest touchdown score under 1.5 yards I don't think hit. And then I don't think the top speed hit. So, yeah. None of my novelty props I think I gave out really hit, which is not too shocking at all. Because I think I even said in the article, I expect like maybe 2 of these to hit at best. And they're all, hopefully we get 2 of the bigger odd ones. But, yeah. That did not happen. So, not a bad day overall, though, like I said. The under hit for us the first quarter. Basically, what really saved us was a coin toss, the under, and then A.J. Barner first touchdown. I mean, shit, Matt Collins having an awesome day, and then Cooper Kupp having a really good day. Those are basically all the bangers we had. Past that, everything else kind of really didn't fully stick or had a small chance, but ended up not. But... thank y'all for watching. Thanks for support. Really do appreciate it. I think that's going to do it for today. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to jump in. We'll probably go over... we'll probably just go over some NFL news and everything. And then if it ends up not being a super long show because we don't have a lot of news to talk about, I'll go over my NFL bets for the season. Kind of how the season went out for us in totality. If not, I'll probably do that next week. Because I'm debating. I probably will only do one show next week. Or I'm debating if I want to take the full week off or just do one show. I'll probably just going to end up doing one show on like Tuesday or Wednesday. Just kind of go over some brief NFL news, talk about my betting record, and then just wait till next week. Then we'll go back to 2 weeks from now, and then we'll go to 2 week again. I just want a little, quick little mental refresh, take a quick week off, especially because it's perfect time right before NFL draft and everything, and NFL Combine. Super Bowl's dead. There's kind of like a 2-3 week dead period. So like I said, next week, maybe one episode, maybe not. If not, I'll figure it out for sure by tomorrow and decide. But then tomorrow, which we'll have that decision, and we'll also have NFL news we'll go over, and potentially talk about some of the betting on futures and just how the season went when it came to sports gambling. But it was a fun Super Bowl. Sad the season's already over because, like I said, now we begin the grind again. 212 days till NFL Week 1. All right, I guess we got to get to March Madness because then that's like 5 weeks-ish away now, so that should take out a good few days.